The United States and Iran have exchanged fire as hopes for a ceasefire are strained further. In the past few minutes, Iran's foreign ministry has condemned US attacks on Iranian tanker and Qasem Island. The US military described them as self-defense strikes, shooting down ballistic missiles and drones fired at ships and Gulf countries. US Central Command said the strikes on Qasem Island in the Strait of Hormuz were in response to attempted attacks by Iran across the Middle East. Earlier, the US fired a missile at a ship it says was violating an American blockade on the Strait of Hormuz, disabling the boat. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard said it had targeted US bases in the region in retaliation, including Fifth Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. Well, sirens sounded across Kuwait City as the military's air defences intercepted the missile and drone attacks. Kuwaiti officials say Iran has carried out a drone strike on a passenger terminal at Kuwait International Airport, and in the past few minutes, the ministry there says one person has been killed. Well, our Middle East correspondent Yolande Knell is in Jerusalem with all the latest.
Kuwait has been repeatedly targeted by Iran since the start of the Iran war, and even during the ceasefire. It's a major US ally in this region, and it has got two US air bases there. Iran says that these have been used to carry out attacks on its territory. But what we've heard from the Kuwaitis in the past few hours is that a passenger terminal was targeted by Iran at its main international airport, that there is serious damage there. A number of individuals were injured and flights have now been suspended. And this is coming only a couple of days after the airport reopened, because it had previously closed due to damage it sustained at the height of hostilities during the Iran war. Now, in the background here, the exact sequence of events isn't really clear, but this exchange of fire between the US and Iran seems to have started with the US firing at this ship that was empty, trying to head into Iranian ports and disabling that vessel. At the same time, the Americans, the Central Command, is saying that it is also attacked drones in the area that were threatening civilian shipping. It's not given much detail on that, and it has confirmed that it carried out a strike on Qasem Island in the Strait of Hormuz, saying that that was a ground control station there. Now, in retaliation, Iran has been launching these attacks on both Kuwait and Bahrain, the home of the US Naval Fifth Fleet. An earlier statement by the Americans suggested that Iranian missiles and drones had been intercepted or had fallen in open areas without causing serious damage.
That was Yolande Knell in Jerusalem. In Lebanon, state media has reported an Israeli strike near Beirut. That is despite President Trump claiming an agreement had been reached that Israeli forces would not bomb the Lebanese capital in exchange for Hezbollah not attacking Israel. Elsewhere in southern Lebanon, a medical source has told AFP that 6 people have been killed in Israeli strikes near Tyre. And these are the latest pictures from southern Lebanon of the latest Israeli strikes. It all comes as talks are being held between Lebanese and Israeli officials in Washington without Hezbollah. Well, Paula Yacoubian is an independent member of the Lebanese parliament, and speaking to us from Beirut, she said that whilst the capital might be experiencing some respite from Israeli strikes for now, that's not the case elsewhere in the country.
Well, the ceasefire is only holding up in Beirut. There is no ceasefire in the south. Just like you mentioned, airstrikes are still happening all the time, killing, shelling, and issuing also evacuation warnings. It's ongoing. Now, the new formula looks like northern Israel against Beirut, or the Beirut southern suburb, the Dahiyeh. So till now, things are holding up. And I think this ceasefire this time was imposed by the US after the famous, interesting call between President Trump and Netanyahu. Obviously, it was imposed on Netanyahu, so it's very fragile.
We know that ceasefire discussions are taking place in Washington. How much involvement does the Lebanese government have, and how possible is it to come to any ceasefire agreement when Hezbollah isn't involved?
Well, it's led by the Lebanese government, and it was a clear statement from Beirut that we negotiate for ourselves, and Hezbollah does not negotiate on behalf of Lebanon or Iran. Let's say Iran cannot negotiate on behalf of Lebanon. Well, everyone knows by now that Hezbollah is a proxy of Iran, and now it's widely known that the Lebanese front is definitely part of the broader deal and the broader conflict. Even the escalation today in the Gulf against Kuwait, some are analyzing that this might be linked to what's still happening in southern Lebanon. Let me be clear here. It's not that Iran really cares if Lebanon is destroyed or not, but Iran cares about its reputation. For months and months, Lebanese were repeating that Iran gave up on Lebanon and that Lebanon is only a battlefield, and then they forgot about Hezbollah and its leadership a year ago when they were all killed. Iran didn't do anything, no reaction from Iran. So Iran entered this war when it was bombed by the Americans and the Israelis. Before that, Lebanon was totally forgotten, only lip service, nothing else. So this time, things that are happening in Lebanon are definitely linked to what's happening in the Gulf, in the broader conflict between the US and Iran. And the negotiations in Washington, D.C. are definitely tied to that. However, it's a different path that the Lebanese government is leading.
As you know, Israel, for them, the key point is Hezbollah's disarmament. Is that something that the Lebanese state can have any influence over?
The Lebanese state already declared the military wing of Hezbollah as out of law. And this is a big decision that was taken by this government. This is the most important card, but Hezbollah is giving this card to Iran and not to Lebanese negotiators or the Lebanese state. So once again, the clear alliance or the clear ties between Iran and Hezbollah are more than ever not taking into consideration the Lebanese interest. I wish this card was with the hand of the Lebanese negotiator. We would have, as Lebanese, a much more powerful position and more leverage in these difficult negotiations.
And that was Paula Yacoubian, who is an independent member of the Lebanese parliament.